Today we're working with a little bit of standing postures. We call this Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So Utthita, extended, Parsva, similar to Parvrita. It kind of means twisted, but it also maybe a little bit rotated. So this isn't a full spinal twist, but it does twist the spine. So props that might be useful, a couple bricks. And if you're using the bricks, you're going to bring them to the back of your mat, one near the front, one near the back. Then you're going to come to stand at the center of your mat. Soft bend in the knees, and then we'll line up our fingertips with our collarbones. Soft bend. And it's sort of a simple jumping motion. We want to jump our legs and our arms out wide at the same time. So we'll give it a couple shots. Something like this. When you jump out like that, your ankles should be roughly underneath your wrists. Let's give it another try. So, standing at the center of your mat, soft bend in the knees. Fingertips line up with the collarbones. As you're ready, arms up and out, legs out wide. Good. And if the jumping is just a little confusing, you're welcome just to step the legs out wide. Again, the way we check, arms out to a T, ankles roughly underneath the wrists or palms. Good. Now let the hands come to rest on the hips for now. So your left toes are going to point straight toward the long side of your mat. Your right toes are going to turn toward the short side of your mat. Now we're going to keep our hands on our hips. We're trying to open our hips and torso toward the long side. And we're trying to keep that openness as we bend into the right knee and stack the knee directly over the ankle. So the tendency might be the second you start to bend that knee, your left hip rotates with it. That would be appropriate in some postures, but not in our extended side angle. Hips and torso open to the long side of your mat. We're going to bend the knee, stack the knee over the ankle. Very good. Now, our first variation, we're very simply going to take our right forearm and release it onto our right thigh. Good. I want you to be careful that you're not just collapsing your weight into it. You're not collapsing into the right side of the torso. Lengthen as much as you can. Keep that length as you lower the forearm onto the thigh. And lift the forearm just to make sure you're not leaning too much into it. Very good. Now from here, roll your left shoulder back to meet your right. You can gently press on the right forearm to help you deepen the twist. Very good. From here, left arm extends first straight up for the sky, then draws over the left ear. So the palms facing down to the earth. And you can think about trying to draw one straight line from the outer edge of the left foot all the way to the left fingertips. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw back up. Good. So that'll be our first variation. We're going to take it to the second side. Very simply, right toes turn in, facing the long side of the mat. Left toes turn out to face the short end. Good. Just like before, hips and torso open to the long side of your mat. Tailbone down, navel up. And try to keep as much length in the sides of the trunk as you can. So all the way from the hip crease up to the armpits. Hips and torso open. Keep that as you bend into the left knee. Stack the knee directly over the ankle. Good. Now, left forearm is going to release onto the thigh. Again, make sure we're not just dumping our weight into it. Gently. Right shoulder blade rolls toward the left. Good. Right arm extends straight up for the sky first. Then over the ear. Palm faces down towards the earth. Ground into the outer edge of your right foot to extend the side of the trunk, extend through the fingers. Keep that deep lunge in your left knee. Make sure you're not collapsing into the forearm. Keep rolling the right shoulder blade toward the left. Take an inhale. Exhale to draw back up. Very good. Let's turn the left toes in. We can heel toe or walk the feet together. Give ourselves a quick break. So that's sort of a basic variation of Utthita Parsvakonasana. And you'll see that a lot in like power yoga classes. In traditional Hatha yoga, the fold and the twist is emphasized a little bit more now, depending on where you are with your flexibility, but also depending on the proportions of your body. This variation may be a little bit less accessible, and that's why we keep this brick nearby. So again, if you're using the bricks, back of the mat, one on each side, we'll come back to the center of our mat, facing the long side. Fingertips line up with the collarbones, soft bend in the knees, and one fluid-ish movement. Good. Hands come onto the torso for a moment as we set up our base. Right toes, again, turn to the short side of the mat. And before we move any further, let's check our grounding into our feet. So you can lift up the toes, find the corners, press evenly, set the toes back down. Very good. Now we're going to bend into the right knee just like before, trying to keep the hips and torso open to the long side of the mat. Good. Now this time the general idea is we're bringing our hand to the outside of our right foot. And again, depending on flexibility and body proportions, that may or may not be super accessible. So if you're using the brick, just bring it directly to the outside of your right foot. And you'll notice your brick has 3 settings. We'll call this high, medium, and low. You might start on the highest one, and then if you're able to adjust a little bit lower, we'll go there. The one thing to watch out for, even when you're using the brick, is the tendency is to want to get our hand down to the ground so bad that we start crunching into our side body in order to do so, and we're sort of missing the point. Lengthening the spine, lengthening the sides of the trunk is goal number 1. Getting the hand down is sort of a side effect or a cherry on the posture. But anyhow, hips open, right knee is over the right ankle. Good. We're going to take our right arm straight out, trying to lengthen as much as you can from this hip crease all the way up to the armpit. We're going to extend first straight up, then keep that length as you fold and bring your right hand to the outside of your foot. So again, it can be on the brick, low, or medium, high, or low setting. Or if it's accessible, all the way onto the mat. But wherever you are, try to keep the left shoulder from falling forward. Roll the left shoulder back to meet the right. Good. Then left arm extends up for the sky. And left arm draws over the ear. So here you can kind of hug the arm and the leg toward each other. Keep rolling the left shoulder blade back. Take an inhale. Exhale. Let's draw back up. Good. Right toes turn in. Left toes turn back. So, first side probably gave you a good idea of the setting if you're using the brick, what might be appropriate for you. But I want you to keep in mind that almost all of us are kind of lopsided and weird at one point or another. So maybe not in this posture, but you'll probably find it in some posture during your practice. So if you're using the bricks, set it up outside of your foot and come back up. Hands on the hips, open the hips and torso to the long side of your mat. Bend the left knee, stack it directly over the ankle. But remember, trying to keep length all the way from the hip crease up into the armpit. Good. We'll extend the left arm straight out, then up. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen as much as you can. Keep that length as you start to fold. And bring your hand to the brick or all the way onto the earth. Right shoulder blade rolls toward the left. Right arm extends straight up for the sky, then over the ear. Good. Keep rolling the right shoulder blade toward the left. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Take an inhale. Exhale, let's come back up. Good. Now, nice way to neutralize the spine, quick round of Balasana, child's pose. So you can heel toe the feet together or simply step to the center of your mat. Move your blocks off to the side. We're going to release onto hands and knees. Bring the big toes to touch, knees out a little bit wider than the hips. Sink the hips back toward the heels. Lower the forehead down. And if you're feeling all that work in the shoulders, you might bring your palms back toward your heels, palms face up. Let the shoulders release completely. Take a few breaths. And soften. Good. As you're ready, walk the hands forward. Walk up with the hands and release. So Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose.